The Retro Network Podcast.
Kind of like Home Alone mixed with The Hangover.
Pause, timeout. All right, I'm doing the Zach Morris thing.
Yes.
The flagship show for the Retro Network Podcast channel.
We've got some fun stuff in this episode.
Man, that's like listening to classic Guns N' Roses.
Even G.I. Joe fans are like, WTF.
Get ready for the latest pop culture news.
We've got plenty of recurrent events headlines to get to.
Man, can you imagine getting a service that streamed all these old Nickelodeon shows?
Interviews.
Let me just start out by asking you, what was your Batman experience when it first came out?
Yeah, summer of '89, I was very excited. I was a comic book reader.
And topical discussions on all that stuff we grew up with and just can't leave in the past.
There's just so many great memories that I have as a kid, just begging mom to go to the department store.
We were the target audience for Sears catalogs. I remember getting them and mom sitting down at the kitchen table and getting on the telephone and making her orders.
How have you not watched The Matrix?
When I went to the movies, I was trying to go watch a sensitive movie, the ones where you could put your arm around your date.
And now, here are your hosts for the Retro Network Podcast, Jason.
I like to have pictures with my words.
And Mickey.
I ain't farting on those snare drums.
Yes, the Retro Network Podcast is back for a new episode. Jason alongside Mickey. How are you, Mickey?
I'm pretty good. I'll be better if I can keep this microphone cord out of my way. But
yeah, you'll get an earful in the next next Outtakes podcast.
Yeah, it's been a busy week, but it's not been a bad busy week. It's been good.
Yeah, I had a pretty good week. Just waiting to get to Thursday last week. And I'll tell you why in a little bit, but it's been great. We've got our office holiday parties coming up this week. I'm excited for those and to show off that ugly cardigan I have. Can't wait.
Yeah, we're having a nice catered steak dinner for Christmas this coming week too. Actually, tonight as this podcast drops, it'll be Tuesday night. So
nice. Yeah, we get barbecue each year, and it's pretty dang good barbecue, full spread.
Man, we'll get a barbecue dinner sometime in the spring or summer. Generally, we have 4 or 5 meals a year, and but right now, actually, we had barbecue a month ago. Matter of fact, but we'll have steak and salad and baked potato and rolls and some desserts, and it'll be a good time.
I love the holiday parties, and those meals just I pile in, man. I don't quit. I don't know when to quit. And then you get back to your desk or whatever doing in the afternoon, and you're worthless for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all worth it. Doing some Christmas shopping this week. How you doing on your Christmas list?
Not at all yet. I've not.
That's right. Yeah, you
shopping.
wait until Christmas Eve.
Well, no, I don't. I leave one thing for Christmas Eve. No, I've got a list. I just need to get the stuff, which I might do after we wrap up here. I may start ordering some stuff for people.
Yeah. I've noticed now in the family that a couple of the kids are eager to tell me anything and everything that they want for Christmas. And now the oldest is kind of like, just get me something, It's hard to, well, what's that something going to be? He's into several different things, but you're not going to tell me, then you're not going to get much, man. I need to know.
Yeah. And I seen a guy yesterday, and he's got a 3.5-year-old daughter, and I was like, yeah, man, that is the sweet spot for Christmas with kids because they're excited about everything. Mm-hmm. You could give them a box of shredded paper and they're going to go nuts. And now my kids, both being teenagers, you ask them what they want for Christmas, it's like, just give me money. I'm like, no.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, give me a credit card. No.
I get the same thing too. It was funny. Just yesterday we were in one of the stores, and I took the littlest. She's 6, and we went down the toy aisle. She's checking everything out, and she goes to me, "Daddy, look, that was in the catalog. That was in the catalog." And she knew, because we got all those catalogs in the mail. I was like, "Oh man, this might work. This might be a tradition." She's remembering stuff that she circled or put stickers on in the toy catalogs that we got from Amazon and Target and everywhere else this year. So I'm excited about that could keep going,
Yeah. My kids, I don't know what. I mean, the wife is taking care of picking stuff out for them that I know they'll like, but they're both still just stuck on the, just give me the money, I'll go get what I want. And like,
Right.
that's not what Christmas is, okay?
It's not. Yeah, it's kind of backwards, but you got to do what you got to do. Well, we've got a fun show for you today. We're kind of getting out of our normal format and skipping the recurrent events, and we're putting our time allotted for the time machine into a new drive-in episode for you. So this should be really fun. And of course, it's one of my favorite, if not the favorite. You know, I say that it's one of the favorites, but every time I watch it, I'm like, there's nothing going to top Christmas Vacation for me. So I'm officially putting it at that number one permanent slot, you know.
Oh.
But anyway, yeah, we've got that drive-in episode and just a ton of facts. And I don't know, this might be the most comprehensive podcast ever put together for Christmas Vacation, let me tell you. So,
well, I look forward to following along. I done all the work on Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and now for this one, you've done it, so I just get to sit back and talk to you about it.
Right, yeah. But we do have a special treat this week. Actually, we want to tell you before we get too far into the podcast to make sure you're over there on the retronetwork.com this week, because Christmas is going to be in full effect, let me tell you. I think we've got something planned every day this week, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're maybe not quite in the Christmas spirit yet after listening to the show, it's probably not going to be possible as much as we're going to break down Christmas Vacation. But get your Christmas spirit on, we'll say, over there at the website this week. You have plenty of stuff, and there's already been some great ones that have come out this past week as well.
Well, I replaced. I'm didn't do a Retro Ramblings Weekly this week. I replaced it with something that's going to drop. We were talking about our favorite Christmas movies last week, and I was mentioning the several movies that put me back in that romanticized era of the 40s and 50s.
Huh.
And so I put together a feature on the golden age of department stores at Christmas time, looking at that era and what Christmas was like in the stores, and going down to the windows and checking out the Christmas displays on the day after Thanksgiving and stuff. So it's a little older than what we normally touch on the Retro Network, but I think some people will enjoy it though.
Oh yeah. Very relevant for the Christmas films we were talking about. And like you said, that's just that classic era when you think of Christmas and what it used to be like. That's what I think of. So good stuff there. And I did put a recurrent events article together this week, and it's on the website now if you want to check that out. There was a ton of reboot news this week that we'll just leave for that article. And if you want to comment over there, we'll get back with you and share our thoughts. I do try to share my thoughts on stuff that hits me, but we had some major trailers drop yesterday as you're listening to the show. I think Wonder Woman and also Ghostbusters. New trailers coming up, so plenty to talk about next week when we get back into our normal show. But we've also got a special thing for you next week too. We'll touch on maybe later. It's going to be really fun.
I'm very excited for it. Very excited for it.
So be on the lookout for that. But first, before we get into our drive-in, we've got a special retro streaming guide for you for December. Now, we've been talking about this before, and Mick and I are well into the cord cutting era, but we're going to put together a retro streaming guide for you for December and let you know what's all coming up. And it is sponsored by broadbandsearch.net. Now, we've been talking about streaming for a long time, but not everybody are cord cutters. So broadbandsearch.net can help you find options in your area. You just type in your zip code and you can see what's available as far as cable companies and I'm sure satellite services and everything in your area. And you think about Disney Plus, Mick, it's not just for streaming, because you can get that thing on your phone and, whatever tablets you have. And if you got a smart TV, you can basically flip back and forth. So you don't have to be a cord cutter to get into some of these streaming services.
Right. And these guys here at broadbandsearch.net, they'll help you compare and contrast all the services available in your area, cable and internet providers, streaming services. They compare and contrast different streaming services, and they have a pretty cool blog that teaches you things. People my generation and a little bit older have trouble with figuring out settings on stuff. I'm looking at one of their posts right now, the ultimate guide for online parental controls. And this is like how to use Comcast parental controls, how to use parental controls on Netflix. And it's a world of information on all this stuff we talk about. So it's well worth going over and checking out, and you'll learn some stuff. And who knows what you may find is available in your area that you didn't know about.
Absolutely. So we'll put a link up in the show notes, broadbandsearch.net. Some great information there to get you up to date on streaming and everything you need to know for getting the most out of your smart devices. I don't know. I'm not getting the most out of my stuff in the house. So I'm definitely going to be earmarking that in all the websites that I follow. But let's go ahead and get to our streaming guide for December. Let's start out with the big boys. We'll start out with Netflix first. Already available now is the Austin Powers trilogy and Malcolm X. The first part of the final season of Fuller House is now available. I'm not sure when the second part of that is coming online. But those of you who got into Fuller House, season 5 is the final one, and that's available now.
My daughters love that show.
I tried to get into it. We watched several episodes. My wife watched more of it than I did, and I couldn't get back into that world.
Well, I couldn't get back into it, but if I come in and they're watching it, I don't sit around grumbling and like, hurry up so I can watch something. I can sit and watch it with them. So that makes it a good show for our family.
Mm-hmm. Coming up on the 23rd of December is that brand new Transformers Rescue Bots Academy show. And my little girl was into the regular Rescue Bots. I haven't got into this Academy version. I think it may be geared towards even smaller kids, your preschool age. So that is coming up. I know they've had pretty good success with the Rescue Bots, and I see those everywhere in the toy stores. Lost in Space Season 2 drops on December 24th. I did watch the first season with my oldest boy. It was pretty good. But I don't know. We dropped Netflix, and I'm not sorry that I'm missing season 2. Let's put it that way. The first season of the Fast and Furious Spy Racers. This is that new animated series. That drops on the 26th. And I did read somewhere that Vin Diesel has a little cameo part in there. Man. So that should be interesting.
You know what's really interesting, though?
Uh-huh.
Our podcast here is growing in age, and I can remember back to one of our very first episodes in the recurrent events where we talked about this coming, and now here it is.
Yeah, we should be doing some more circle back stuff and see what our take was when we first heard about it, and when we get to that point where we can review it, interject some stuff and see if our thoughts are the same or different. As far as Christmas stuff, you're looking for Christmas stuff on Netflix, they have the brand new animated Grinch movie. They've got the Jim Carrey Grinch, White Christmas, and that wonderful Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas special. Have you watched that, Mick?
Nope, I never was a Pee-wee's Playhouse fan.
It's insane, man, because they have like Grace Jones in there and several just off-the-wall guests in that Christmas special. I watched it last year with the kids, and they kind of looked at me a couple points like, what is this? But we got into Pee-wee's Playhouse for a while, and they enjoyed it, so check that out if you get a chance this year. I know your schedule is tight, but it's really fun, interesting to watch. And then if you're looking for Thor Ragnarok, it left Netflix on December 4th. It's now over on Disney Plus. And the same thing is going to happen on the 25th of December on Christmas Day. Star Wars The Last Jedi will be leaving Netflix and going to Disney Plus. So in case you're needing to know where those two movies are, and then get your Rocky fix now, because that is leaving Netflix December 31st.
We leave the Rocky movies on loop here. Daily inspiration, yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Hey, woman.
That would be good, like a Rocky quote calendar, one Rocky quote each day.
Oh, there's enough to do a year.
I know it. And then also, if you watch Frasier, that show is leaving Netflix December 31st. I'm assuming that's going to go to one of the other streaming services. I didn't see where.
Probably, I would bet Peacock this spring.
Could be. Now let's switch over to Hulu. already available for you over there. Airheads, one of our favorite movies. Of course, Mick's noted line from that one that we
I ain't
love to
farting
share.
on the snare drum.
You can watch the first 3 Fast and Furious movies: Footloose, Roadhouse, Some Kind of Wonderful, and Wall Street. Those are all available now on Hulu. December 13th is the brand new Bumblebee movie. Not brand new, but the more recent Transformers movie, Bumblebee. Have you seen that, Mick?
Nope.
I think you should watch it and tell me what you think, because it pushed a lot of buttons that the other Transformers didn't for me, and I know you haven't watched any of those either, but Bumblebee I would recommend. So
that came out when this past summer?
It was, I'm trying to remember now. It might have been last fall.
Okay, let's say it come out in 2018. I'm currently finishing 96, headed to 97, so
we'll schedule
about 21. Yeah, about, I don't know, 2040. I'll get around to it maybe.
Yeah,
if I'm lucky.
We'll schedule a roundtable review for that.
Okay.
You want some Christmas over on Hulu? They've got Prancer and what we talked about last week, A Very Brady Christmas.
Oh, they got it. That's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. Yes.
I know what I'm watching tonight.
And there are too many movies that are going to be leaving Hulu on December 31st. There's nearly 50 of them that are 1999 and older. So for the sake of time, I didn't mark a lot down, but if you've got some retro movies over there, there's a chance some of them might be leaving the end of the month.
Now, you said last week you've never watched A Very Brady Christmas, have you?
No.
Well, you should try to make time to give it a shot this
Okay.
Christmas season, since it's on Hulu and easy to find.
All right. If I watch that, then you have to watch Pee-wee.
Never mind. Don't worry about it. It won't take good.
That's what I thought. Yep. All right. Let's jump over to Amazon Prime. Available now. A couple of movies we just mentioned, Footloose and Some Kind of Wonderful. Bumblebee is also coming there on the same day, December 31st. And at the end of the month, you're going to get Jim Carrey and Man on the Moon. Did you ever watch that one?
That's a really good movie, I thought.
Yeah, I remember. I have not watched it in years, but I remember it being pretty good. I think it was was he nominated for some awards for that, or
I don't remember.
I was thinking that it had some Oscar buzz. Anyway, and then if you want to watch It's a Wonderful Life, Amazon Prime is the place.
Or My Living Room, one or the other.
Okay, Disney Plus. You can watch have you watched any of the, who am I talking to? You haven't watched any of the Garfield movies, but they've got Garfield now on Disney Plus, with the voice of Bill Murray.
Do they have any of the animated specials on there? The
Garfield? No, not on Disney Plus. I actually found this year, for some reason, I found it on YouTube. It's available. Usually it's not available on YouTube, but the Garfield Christmas is over there on YouTube.
I have it downloaded. Oh, it's also available in the TRN Christmas Theater on the retronetwork.com right now.
There you go. We mentioned Thor Ragnarok is available now, and The Last Jedi will come over there the day after Christmas on the 26th. And then The Mandalorian, we've been watching that. That drops on Fridays, those episodes, except for on December 20th that week. It's going to release 2 days early because that's the Rise of Skywalker release. So you get your new episode on Wednesday before you go watch the movie on Friday. And there's a ton of Christmas stuff on Disney Plus. Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Wait.
Yeah, go ahead.
Pause. Is it just Mickey's Christmas Carol, or is it by chance it's not the whole special, is it? Where it's got the Donald Snow fight and the Chip and Dale with Pluto's Christmas tree and all that. It's not all bundled together on there, is it?
There's 2 separate ones. I haven't watched them yet. You got Mickey's Christmas Carol and then another Mickey special. There's like 2 of them.
Oh my God. If that's the original, holy moly. That used to be the highlight of my Christmas season as a kid, was the whole family would sit down to watch NBC's presentation of Mickey's Christmas Carol on Sunday night. Mm-hmm. And it was all those shorts. Oh my goodness. Okay. I still haven't signed up for Disney Plus yet. My oldest talked me into waiting because she's trying to finish the Scream series on Netflix before I drop Netflix. So she might have to do without it.
the two specials that are on Disney Plus is Mickey's Christmas Carol and then Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas.
Okay, Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas.
That's the one that tells the 3 stories, including A Very Goofy Christmas,
yes,
Mickey and Minnie's Gift of the Magi.
Now, the closest thing I have found to the original airing of Mickey's Christmas Carol is Snowed In at the House of Mouse. And it's on DVD. You know, they used to have the House of Mouse cartoon on Disney Channel. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. They may still do it, but Snowed In at the House of Mouse, they showed all those shorts, but the whole thing was everybody, all these Disney characters are at the House of Mouse for their Christmas party, and they get snowed in there. And so to keep people entertained, they're showing these Christmas cartoons, but in between them all, it's new animation in the House of Mouse, the different characters interacting with each other, like Donald Duck interacting with Beauty and the Beast, and the Lion King and stuff is there. And it's a great new take on it. Well, I say new, but that DVD is probably 15 years old or more now. But we got it for my daughter, and when she was young, we watch it every year now too.
Awesome. Some other Christmas stuff over there on Disney Plus, Home Alone 1 through 3. We've already watched the first 2. The Santa Claus, all those films are there, 1 through 3. Prancer, The Christmas Star, Muppets Christmas Carol, and The Nightmare Before Christmas. All available on Disney Plus right now.
Wow.
And then let's go over to CBS All Access, which is what you subscribe to, Mick. Available now, Jerry Maguire, Christine, Any Given Sunday, The Dead Zone, and Stephen King's Thinner. Any of those jump out at you?
I really liked Thinner. That's a good movie.
I've not seen that one. Tubi. Let's get on to some freebies here. Tubi, they've got the From Dusk Till Dawn series, 1 through 3, available now. And Ronin. I remember watching Ronin. There's like a really cool car chase in that one with De Niro. It's been a while since I watched that, though. And then on December 16th, they're going to have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows movie, which is the second one in that rebooted series that I think was produced by Michael Bay, but not directed. And I thought it was, I can watch both of them. I don't think they were both awful or anything. The second one has Bebop and Rocksteady, which is really cool, that's the one that's coming to Tubi. So if you have not watched that, Mick, I would recommend you watching that one and tell me what you think.
We'll see what happens.
All right, over to Pluto TV. They've got several new channels. One is Nickelodeon Movies and Nickelodeon Games. Now, it's newer shows. I have not seen any like the classic game shows on there yet, which would really get my attention. They start showing the what did they call it back in the day? Games and show. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, all the old like Finders Keepers and Double Dare. You start bringing that stuff back, you're going to get my attention. But I haven't seen any of that over there on Pluto TV.
Have you ever seen that DVD compilation they put out of those shows? It's like one episode of all those classic old Nickelodeon game shows. I came across it last week. I thought it was pretty cool. There's Double Dare and Finders Keepers and Legends of the Hidden Temple, and it's just one episode of each, but it was still it would be worth picking up just to have on your shelf to watch from time to time.
We actually were over there yesterday and watched the movie Tintin on that Nick movie channel. Have you seen that one?
No.
It's pretty good. It's based on a really old property, but
like Ren Tin Tin?
No, like Tintin.
I used to love watching Ren Tin Tin on the Family Channel every evening.
Tintin is the little boy that's like a detective, and he's got the little dog Snowy. Yeah. It was a pretty good movie, and it's in that same kind of animation style as like Polar Express. I think Steven Spielberg actually had a hand in that movie.
Well, then I'd probably like it since that was my favorite book as a kid.
Right, yeah. God. And Pluto TV actually has 4 dedicated Christmas channels. You get the you get the Christmas movie channel. You get the fireplace like 24/7 with the music. You get like holiday lights, which is a whole channel of just like holiday lights displays with music. So substitute the fireplace for homes decorated and all kinds of stuff. And then you get the Mistletoe channel, which is the romantic like Hallmark Christmas movies. So 4 dedicated channels over there for Christmas, which is pretty cool. And then let's get to Roku. There's a ton of stuff available now on the Roku channel for free. Con Air, Ronin, Last Action Hero, Money Train. I haven't watched Money Train in forever.
Oh, Money Train's on there? That's a good movie. I need to watch that again.
Yeah. Groundhog Day, Encino Man, Look Who's Talking, Teen Wolf.
Oh, what?
Tombstone, Roxanne, which we were talking about in the last drive-in.
Mm-hmm.
The Toy. I think is that a Christmas movie with Robin Williams? I have never watched that.
Now, The Toy, the movie titled The Toy is Richard Pryor. Robin Williams was in a movie called Toys.
Okay. Maybe I'm getting those confused then, because this is The Toy.
Well, The Toy is a funny movie. And you've never seen that with Richard Pryor?
No, I've never seen it.
Well, you've got Jackie Gleason in it, too. As the rich old Southerner who takes his son to the closed toy store. He can have anything in it he wants, and what he wants is the cleaning man, Richard Pryor, because he's funny. And he's like, son, we can't buy a black man to take home. But he ends up hiring him anyway to come home and play with his son, and it's funny. It's a funny movie.
Okay. And then they've got a couple Christmas offerings over there. Santa Claus the movie, which I just watched last year for the first time in a long time.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It wasn't very good.
It was okay. Yeah, I wasn't going to rave about it or anything, but and then they've got the 1993 Nutcracker. I think that's maybe animated. I could be wrong. Over there on Roku. So that's
I'm going to see the Nutcracker Saturday. I mean, not the movie. We're going to see my mother-in-law. So a little bit different thing there.
I was waiting for the punchline on that one. Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, that will wrap up our retro streaming guide for December.
No, it will not.
Oh, you got more?
I got a little bit more.
Okay.
Just a little bit here. You forgot to mention that over at theretronetwork.com, we have our Christmas theater. And we have a few selections that people may want to go watch.
Mm-hmm.
As far as movies go, it's not a lot, but we've got The Homecoming, a Walton's Christmas Story that we discussed last week. We've got the great George C. Scott 1984 version of A Christmas Carol, which I just watched last night. Christmas Comes to Willow Creek that I was bragging about with Bo and Luke Duke in it. You can watch on the retronetwork.com. And one of my favorite Christmas specials, the Johnny Cash Christmas special from 1977. That is a lot of fun because he's joined by Carl Perkins and Jerry Lee Lewis and Roy Orbison, Roy Clark, and some other folks. And they sing some old Christmas tunes and do some skits and things, and it's a lot of fun. Cartoon-wise, we just mentioned a Garfield Christmas you can watch over at TRN. A Family Circus Christmas. Is that one you've ever seen based on the comic strip?
I don't think I have.
It was popular in the 80s, but it's kind of just fell by the wayside, but people should check it out. Frosty the Snowman and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. And then the two big ones, the Smurfs Christmas Special and He-Man and She-Ra Christmas Special. You can watch both of those at your leisure in the TRN Christmas Theater. And you can find it, just go to the retronetwork.com, and it's right there on the right-hand side of the page. You'll see He-Man and She-Ra. And this is not streaming, but since it's retro, I thought I'd mention it. For people who have cable or have access to MeTV, you're familiar with that channel, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. They are showing Christmas episodes of old TV shows every day from now through Christmas. So stuff like Christmas episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies, Laverne and Shirley, Love Boat, Ed Sullivan Show, Taxi, Cheers, Bob Newhart, Jeffersons, WKRP in Cincinnati, The Odd Couple, Brady Bunch. It goes on and on and on. MASH. So if you're into old Christmas TV episodes and you have cable or satellite, check your listings because those shows you're seeing on MeTV are Christmas episodes for the rest of the month.
That's a really great channel. We actually get it on our local, just over the air channel here. It's like a .2 channel, and it's really great. They've got a lot of great stuff Saturday night too. I think they call it Sci-Fi Saturday Night, and the what is his name? Svengoolie. That shows all the the old horror movies. Great stuff on that channel, so I'm not surprised. I think that's actually where I got the original WPIX Yule log one year. I don't know if they still run that or not around Christmas. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, I love MeTV. There's a couple more available we can put in the TRN Theater as well. We did watch the Smurfs yesterday or this weekend, and the Fat Albert Christmas special is on YouTube that we can throw in there. I watched that one last night. So, yeah, man, good stuff. You can just hang over there and watch a ton of stuff. Oh, there's also, I wanted to mention too, still in the retro streaming guide here, the History Channel put out like the history of Christmas through the decades.
Yes, that is wonderful.
Have you watched that? Oh my gosh, it's I think it's about 40 minutes long, so it would be an hour. And it was great. I watched that yesterday, and just taking you through all of what was hot during the 80s technology and toys and everything that was.
Well, it's not just
really
the
popular.
80s. They've got an episode for each decade.
Right.
For people who are cord cutters like us, you can download, if you have a Roku or a smart TV or whatever, you can download the History Channel app. And every year that I've had that app, they'll put every episode up in December on there to watch for free. There's not a lot on their app you can watch for free without a cable subscription, but they rotate stuff in and out for non-subscribers, and that's one that's been up every year. And those are great. We've watched them several years over now. We watch them every year.
Yeah.
Jason's right. It goes through all the hot toys, the news events around Christmas and things. And
when Mr. T was Santa at the White House, they've got a whole little thing on that. I actually watched it on YouTube. So the History Channel's channel on YouTube had the 80s. So I haven't looked to see if it's got some of the other decades. But it was really well done. It was kind of like back in the day when VH1 did the I Love the 80s and had all the celebrities there. Because, they had like Jillian Michaels and they had Diamond Dallas Page, and I'm trying to think who else they interviewed for that special. There's some other, Will Wheaton. So you get their commentary alongside the announcer going through what was going on in the 80s, which was really great. So highly recommend that if you want to go find that on YouTube or on the History Channel app. But I think that's going to do it then. Are you ready to put a bow on this?
I am.
Since we're in the Christmas season. And we are going to go on to our TRN Drive-In episode on Christmas Vacation. Cannot wait. Oh my gosh, so much anticipation watching it this week. I can't wait for y'all to hear what's going to happen in the drive-in. So let's do it, man. Let's don't keep them any longer. Let's go for it.
Let's stop and get a slice of pizza and some ice cream before we go park at the drive-in, though.
Absolutely. The snack bar is open, but you better hurry before the show starts.
Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la.
After vacationing across America and throughout Europe,
Take it, Russ.
this holiday season, the Griswolds are going to play it safe.
Clark, we're stuck under a truck.
Oops. They're staying at home.
I give you the Griswold family Christmas tree.
Hope you're not getting sap all over your sweater, Clark.
All Clark wants is a quiet, old-fashioned Christmas.
Sorry. Got a little knot here. You can work on that.
What he's going to get is the gift that keeps on living.
Merry Christmas.
His family.
We didn't come to impose.
Oh, hell, there's plenty of room.
Do you sleep with your brother? Do you know how sick and twisted that is, Mom?
Well, I'm sleeping with your father.
Have you got a kiss for me?
You better take a rain check on that, Art. He's got lip fungus they ain't identified yet.
But no holiday could ever be more deeply touching.
We were gonna call, but Eddie wanted to make it a surprise.
If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now.
We're really gonna fly down the hill with this stuff.
So genuinely moving.
Can I refill your eggnog for you? Drive you out to the middle of nowhere? Leave you for dead?
More truly uplifting.
Can I show you something?
I was just browsing.
Or more down to earth.
Merry Christmas!
If Santa is smart, he'll stay well clear of this joint. It's a death trap.
Than Christmas with the Griswolds.
Everybody come out quick, look at the lights!
They want you to say grace.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
This year, Let Chevy Chase light up your holidays. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
That thing had 9 lives. She just spent them all.
You woo, crack up.
Good evening, folks, and a hearty welcome to our drive-in theater. We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you, one that will provide several hours of pleasurable relaxation and diversion for you and your family. There are always wonderful new pictures to see, delightful snacks to nibble, a gay, pleasant evening for all. We hope you have a wonderful time.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, showtime!
As the holidays approach, Clark Griswold, played by Chevy Chase, wants to have a perfect family Christmas, so he pesters his wife, Ellen, played by Beverly D'Angelo, and children as he tries to make sure everything is in line, including the tree and house decorations. However, things go awry quickly. His cousin Eddie, played by Randy Quaid, and his family show up unplanned and start living on the Griswold property. Even worse, Clark's employer reneges on the holiday bonus he needs. Welcome to another episode of the TRN Drive-In. This is Jason alongside my buddy Mickey. How are you, Mick?
I'm good. I'm excited.
Gosh, I can't tell you how much I was excited to do this episode and seeing it this week. I've actually watched it twice this past week, so it's such a great movie, and I can't wait to dive into it. Maybe more than anybody else has ever done on a podcast, let me tell you. But we did want to obviously say, as we do with these movies, if you haven't seen it, just unsubscribe to this feed, please. No, we're going to spoil it. Obviously, we're going to dive into the history and lots of facts, kind of behind the scenes stuff too. But if you haven't watched it in a while, go ahead and watch it and then come back to this episode because it's going to be great. And we did want to make one note, as we typically try to keep that clean mark checked in the podcast feed. Obviously, if you've watched Christmas Vacation, there is some language. And instead of me editing out all of the comments and quotes and everything that we've got through here, we're just going to mark this one explicit. So if you're listening with the family, you might want to put on the headphones. How about that?
Earmuffs. Earmuff it.
Yes. Put on that, get one of those hats that Eddie had and pull that down over your ears.
I've got one of those hats, by the way. I wear it every winter.
We need a picture of that, man.
Now, his is a nice leather one, and his is too small for his head. Mine actually fits well, and it's like a nice flannel thing.
Do you have a white bathrobe?
I do not. I've got a black bathrobe.
I'm going to send you a white bathrobe so you can just put that on and take a picture holding a beer. How about that?
Might be close enough if I just put a towel around my waist. I got some white towels.
Okay, that might work. Anyway, before we get too far ahead, we just want to thank everybody for listening to our first show, the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles episode. It's quickly become one of the most popular episodes on the podcast channel, and that's because of all the feedback and everybody listening to that just in this last couple weeks. So we really appreciate that, and we're hoping these drive-in episodes are going to be something you'll really enjoy, a little bit, separate from the norm, separate from maybe a normal movie review podcast that you listen to. So thank you guys for that. All right, well, let's dive in, man. Let's dive in. We're just going to talk about the movie in general first. Let's talk about the cast. Starring Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, and Randy Quaid. Written and produced by the late, great John Hughes. Now, I'm going to get a little bit ahead of myself, but the movie was based actually on a John Hughes short story called Christmas 59, which was the second vacation story actually to be published in the National Lampoon's magazine. The first one was called Vacation 58, which was what the basis for the first vacation film was. This actual story was printed in the December 1980 issue. So it was John Hughes adapting that short story that he wrote for National Lampoon's magazine into a movie.
Wow.
And the director is actually a first-time director, Jeremy Chechik. This was his very first feature film. Didn't do too many. One you might have watched that he has directed before is Benny and June.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, I have not seen that one either. But
it's Johnny Depp, I know, but I've not seen it.
Right, yeah. So that was kind of the behind the scenes as far as the the cast and production and direction for the movie. How old is this movie for you, Mick? When did you first see it?
It would have been early 90s. I can't I know I didn't see it in the theater. I can't remember if we rented it. It was probably something where one of my dad's brothers or somebody had bought it and we borrowed it, would be my guess, because we done a lot of that in this time frame. Mm-hmm. So I'd say we probably seen it within a few months of it coming out on its first home release.
Okay. Yeah, my first time I watched this, I was trying to remember, it had to have been probably 1990 or 91. This came out in 89, so it was a rental. And I was over at a friend's house, and I remember watching it with his family, and then they all went to bed, and we watched it, just me and him, late, and just, oh my gosh, it was so, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It just was so polarizing to me, and we were both glued to it, couldn't wait to watch it again. I remember getting up and rewinding several parts, which we'll talk about. But that was the first time. I had never seen it in the theater until this past week, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But it's got a pretty good legacy. I mean, it's highly ranked. If you go on, just search for the top Christmas movies of all time or something, you're going to see it ranked on many people's lists. Most of them high up there. Do you got a specific time that you watch this for the Christmas season, Mick? I mean, is it like the first one out for you, or?
No, it falls early in my viewing, but it's not necessarily first or anything. It's a mood movie for me. Mm-hmm. I watched it again last night, partly to get ready for this, but partly, it was just that time. I was in the mood, mm-hmm. and it was time to watch Cousin Eddie.
Yeah, there's no specific day for me either. Some years I will watch it like right off the bat. It's like the first Christmas movie I watch.
And now, I remember we used to, before we record cutters, I want to say somebody used to play it on the night of Black Friday every year as mm-hmm. their featured movie. Maybe AMC or something. And we would watch it then, but that's been a while.
Yeah, I was trying to find out. I think AMC is the one that still has the rights to show it on cable. And gosh, I remember years back when we had cable that it would come on before Halloween. You're like, oh wow, really? Already? Okay. But I usually try to stay away from that at least until after Thanksgiving. We get into more of the Christmas season and start watching it. But just talk about the cultural impact of the movie. And like yesterday, I'm in Kohl's, and we get back to where they have all of the, what I call Christmas gift section. It's all the pocket knives and just weird mm-hmm. stuff, that for stocking stuffers and what have you. There is a whole shelf, like top to bottom, like 4 shelves of just Christmas vacation stuff. The moose mugs, puzzles.
Really? They've got those at Kohl's, the moose mugs?
They do, yes.
Like in a set or individually?
They're individual boxes. Mm. But just tons of stuff, merchandise there. And I would say probably it was only second to A Christmas Story, just in that store, the amount of like licensed Christmas merch that was there. Everything from the moose mugs to regular coffee mugs and everything in between. Just so much merchandise. And I think that's where we have gotten over, the past 30 years with this movie. It just keeps growing based on the amount of merch that I see in stores each year, Mm-hmm. I mean, what are your feelings towards that? Or have you got any Christmas Vacation merch in the house?
I used to have some printed logo golf balls.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I would have got those in the late 90s or early 2000s. And I don't know if I still have those or not. Probably not, because I don't have them on display with everything else. But no, I don't believe I do have. The closest thing I've got is a Wally World t-shirt, which is not based on the Christmas movie, but it was a nice way for them to tie that original movie in, though, with the Wally Moose mugs in this movie.
That's right.
Tied it back to the original. But no, I don't think I do have any
wasn't until last year that I got a moose mug. And when we sat down for Thanksgiving dinner and we were serving up the sparkling cider, and I had some like flavored ciders, my boy had pulled out the moose mug from my wife's china cabinet and set that down right in front of me. I was like, attaboy. But I've got a little Clark Griswold magnet set that my wife got me several years ago. It's him in his like underwear. You put it on their fridge, and then you've got the pajamas, you've got the Santa Claus suit. It comes with like a moose mug, a squirrel, a chainsaw, hockey mask, and you can, decorate them up however you want to. And then it comes with like 50 different words, so you can make little quotes from the from the movie. It's even got a word that's just SH asterisk TT, for shitter. That's you can make, and I've put little stuff up on social media about that, but I don't know. It seems almost larger than life, and I'm just going to briefly tell you my experience this week watching it. Never watched it in the theater before. I learned that AMC was going to show it Thursday night, 7:00, and I get there. There's easily, I would say, 50 people in the theater, 50 to 60.
Well, that's pretty good for that.
Which was, it was surprising to me for a weeknight and, being a 30-year-old movie. There is I think I told you about this, Meg. I'm not sure if I mentioned it on the show, but there is a family that live in a town north of us, about 20, 25 miles away, that does a full-on Griswold house each year. And they all dress up. They've got a faux tenement on wheels. It's not like that style of camper, but it's a camper. And they've got a station wagon that they strap a Christmas tree to, and they decorate the house insanely. And they hang out for a couple hours during that night, and you can come by and get pictures with them and interact with them, They're just full-on Griswold. They were there at the show, okay? And they pulled up in the station wagon with the Christmas tree on top.
Oh, wow.
I took pictures. You imagine driving 20, 25 miles each way to go to the theater with this Christmas tree strapped on top. I didn't know how they could see out the front window. It was crazy. They're like leaning out the side like Ace Ventura or something. But they pull up. They're all in their costume. There's a Cousin Eddie, a Clark, and oh gosh, we had the best time watching it in the theater. There was me and two of my buddies. There was even some kids there. I was surprised, but there was one old man that was just hacking up a lung, laughing so much during the movie. It was like maybe he had seen it once or twice. But, I've got the movie memorized practically, but hearing him just hacking, we were, looking at my friends back and forth, and we were laughing just as much as him as we were at the movie in some of the parts, So it was just the best time watching it in the theater, being there with other fans, and then being there seemingly with some people that only watched it a few times. Even my friends, I asked them before the movie, how many times have you seen this? One of them said 3 or 4, and the other one was like 40 or 50. So I was quoting the movie to my friend to the left that had seen it 40 or 50 times, and then I was spouting like facts at my friend to the right that had only seen it 3 or 4 times. So it was perfect, man. I got a little bit of everything watching it. I stood up at one point when they get to the Todd and Margot line. I was like, everybody in unison. And, at the beginning of the movie, and this is fun because everybody in there is just talking throughout the whole thing. And everybody knows, this is just, we're here to get the experience. And, at the beginning of the movie, before anything happens, they always say, silence your cell phones, please no talking. And I was like, yeah, that's going to happen. It was just a great time. I had never had anything like that in the theater before. It was so much fun. But anyway, so that's just a little bit of a generalization of the movie and a little bit of its legacy and everything. Let's get into some facts and stats about the movie. It was released, like I said, 1989, December 1st. Runs 97 minutes, rated PG-13. The tagline, "You'll crack up." According to executive producer Tom Jacobson, Hughes was shooting Uncle Buck at the same time. And they overlapped the prep, but Warner Brothers wanted Christmas Vacation in time for Christmas, so they started shooting it 3 days after wrapping Uncle Buck. So it was like a back-to-back movie with Uncle Buck, with John Hughes. I thought that was fascinating. A little bit about the box office. The budget for the movie, $27 million, which was actually pretty high for a comedy then. And I didn't do any adjustment for inflation, so you'll see why here in a minute. It debuted at number 2 on that day, $11.7 million. Any idea what was number 1 that day?
What year? 89?
89, beginning of December.
I'm not even sure what all was out then. What year did Die Hard come out?
It wasn't Die Hard. I think Die Hard was maybe 80. It was a couple years earlier.
Let's see. Scrooged was 88, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was only one other Christmas movie released that year.
Ernest Saves Christmas?
No. Prancer. Prancer was the only other one. But what beat it out was Back to the Future Part 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was
I didn't realize that was the time of year it came out. You think these days of summer blockbusters, you know, my mind wasn't even going to something like that.
So it made $11.7 million the first week. It ended up grossing $71.3 million. And I was looking, I think it was at Box Office Mojo. It says actually over 56 weeks. So it sounds like some theaters kept showing it the next year or kept it in the theater. So it didn't totally get removed until the following year, which is kind of crazy to me. But by the 8th week, it had already earned 66 of its 71. So it wasn't like it lasted a whole year and everybody's watching it throughout the year.
Right.
It was like some theaters showed it, that following Christmas in 1990.
Now, I wonder if these showings like the one you just went to retroactively get added to those numbers.
I would think it would, but I don't know. I don't know how that all works out. If that's since it's released through AMC, you would think that they would get like an overall like national number, because there was all the theaters that were showing it was at that same date, same time, so it should have a total for that week, and I would add it in. I don't know, but just to compare it to some other movies for some perspective here, it is the 17th highest grossing Christmas movie of all time.
Really? It's that low?
Yeah. It was actually the highest domestic take of all the vacation movies, including the recent reboot, the 77 million. No other films debuted with it that week. I thought that was strange. It was the only one. It debuted at number 2, like I said. Back to the Future was released the week before. And then the following week, it was also number 2 behind the debut of War of the Roses. You remember that one with...
I do not.
Danny DeVito?
I don't remember that one, no.
Now, by the 3rd and 4th week that it was out, it went to number 1. It eclipsed War of the Roses, and then it fended off Tango and Cash in its 4th week, which debuted. So those Tango, Cash, War of the Roses, that was later in that December in 1989. So it did make it to number 1 for a couple of weeks in the theater before it dropped off after that. Let's talk about a little bit of the critical reviews of the movie. Siskel and Ebert, 2 thumbs down, man.
Really?
Yeah, did not like it. I watched the review over there on YouTube. You can find that available. Ebert, well, they were both pretty put it through the ringer, basically, but they were both looking at the direction of the movie more than anything, and this being the first-time film for the director, that they just said no, it didn't live up to the other ones, and Ebert even said that it felt trapped, like they had gone on a road trip for the other 2 movies, and I was like, well, this is something different altogether, but he didn't like it. So 2 thumbs down. The Rotten Tomato score, 65% on the tomato meter, which is the critics, and then 89% audience. I thought 89 was actually kind of low.
Yeah, I do too.
And then let's get on to some awards. It was actually not nominated for any awards. But I thought this was the coolest thing. This movie has 4 Oscar nominees in it. Juliette Lewis, Diane Ladd, Randy Quaid, and William Hickey. It also has Golden Globe nominees Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, and eventually Johnny Galecki, who is in the Big Bang Theory. It has a Golden Globe winner and 9 Emmy Awards from Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And 5-time Emmy winner Doris Roberts. So it's just jam-packed with award-winning actors and nominated actors. So, but it did not, as far as I could find, did not win any awards or was not even nominated. But that being said, how about we give out some awards, Mick?
Yep.
Okay, so we're getting into some good stuff now. Favorite scene in the movie? God, this is so hard. Oh my gosh. Favorite scene in the movie. All right.
This movie is it's like, for what we're doing here with giving these awards away, this is a murderer's row of scenes. It's a really hard award to give away because it's a movie that there's not much transition between scenes. It's just scene, and every scene is memorable. So this is going to be tough.
Yeah. I wrote down 4 nominees. Okay. I'll get through these. I'll let you throw out any that I might have missed, and then let's go back through and talk about them. The first scene that I love is when the grandparents first arrive. So they're, everybody's in the house kind of prepping, and then you get the doorbell. Ding dong, and then it gets lower every time. Mm-hmm. And then you open up the door, and then you get the grandparents rushing in, That scene. Another one I'm going to nominate is Clark in the attic.
Yeah.
All of that kind of leading up to when he's, watching the home movie. Lighting the house. I'm going to call this lighting the house Christmas lights. And this is that time when they've kind of they figured out what's wrong with the lights. They get them on. Everybody comes out. And then this is where everybody's kind of in the yard with Eddie showing up. And it's kind of a sequence, I guess, more than a scene, but who cares? The last one I'm going to nominate is the family dinner. When they're all around the table. And there's some great lines there. What else do you want to throw in the mix?
The one where after Eddie arrives, him and Clark are in the living room.
Okay.
Just going through all this stuff about Eddie. You get the Wally Moose mugs. You get Eddie breaking the little whirly bird gig on his thing and telling the story about the RV and telling Clark about the dog having a little bit of Mississippi Leghound in him, and it's best to just let him finish. And the other scene I'll nominate is Clark in the department store with Mary.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, Mary, that's my name. No shit. That whole scene where he's so exasperated and talking a mile a minute. And yeah, I love both of those.
Okay. And obviously there was one that I did not put in here, which is more towards the end of the movie. It's not really a scene in itself, but what I would call when Clark goes berserk. Yeah. But anyway, let's just talk about these ones that we've listed here. The grandparents arrived. That doorbell just bong, bong. It's like a tolling of the bells. And they get in there. You got the mom messing with Chevy Chase's face, and they want Russ to rub her heel for a quarter. And, then they go back and forth about parking the cars.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of the scene. Yeah.
And then
your car was in there last year.
And then the line that is just so great that ends that scene is when I'm going to go park the cars and get the luggage, and I'll be outside for the rest of the season, and he closes the door. I don't know. I just always love that. And that doorbell just gets me every time. I love it.
Do you think this is changing colors? No. Well, I mean, if you keep rubbing it, it's turning red.
It's turning redder. Yeah. A whole quarter. Oh gosh.
I'll give Audrey a quarter too. Audrey, I'll give you a quarter.
All right. Let's go on to Clark in the attic. I mean, and this probably starts when he opens the door and it smashes him in the face, classic Chevy Chase shtick. And then his other shtick is the boards coming up and smash him in the face when he's trying to walk around, that physical comedy we're used to. He's up there. He tries to put the present in there, and he finds that one from Happy Mother's Day 1983 that was shoved back in there. And this is probably the first year, really going through this film and making notes. I'm like, why is he even putting Mother's Day presents in the attic? I don't understand that. Was she living with them at the time, or why would he need to hide it in the attic?
Well, man, I always thought that was one he had put up for his wife, but
yeah, it says Happy Mother's Day on it. So yeah,
well,
I think
you don't buy your wife Happy Mother's Day present.
Well, maybe, I don't know.
I mean, I do.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know that I hide it.
My present is a day off. That's when I'm doing the dishes and laundry and everything.
Oh.
Yeah. She thankfully doesn't get into all the shiny stuff, so I'm blessed in that area. But yeah, and then then he's trapped up there. He smacks his head on the little vent trying to get their attention, and then putting on all those old clothes in the trunk, and then sitting down watching the movie, one of the great little heartfelt scenes in the movie, watching the old home movies, and then the mother-in-law opening the attic stairs and him falling through to end that scene.
Yeah, that was a heck of a place for him to decide to sit, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah. I didn't get that either, but it's still hilarious nonetheless. All right, lighting the house Christmas lights. And this is more of a, like I said, there's a sequence here. I could have nominated when he's putting up the Christmas lights too, and he's on the ladder. I just love that. But at the end, when he finally, and then they come on, you get the Hallelujah chorus. All the family comes out and all excited to see the lights, and he goes through and it's like thanking everyone, and then you get Eddie and the introduction of the family there as well towards the end of that scene. Well, even kind of the when they pull the parents out the first time too is great. And I hope nobody sees me standing here in my pajamas, and if they know your dad, they won't think anything of it. The drum roll, and yeah, there's some lots of fun stuff out there in the lawn.
Those little lights aren't twinkling.
I know, Dad, and thanks for noticing. Yeah, Eddie's introduction to snots, and you roll over and let Uncle Clark scratch your belly. I don't know, my hands are all chapped. You ain't never seen a set like this, like on a dog like this, Clark.
No, she falls down a well, her eyes go cross, gets kicked by a mule, they go uncrossed. I don't know.
And then the family dinner. Oh my gosh. You get to it starts with the blessing. The blessing. And she spouts off the Pledge of Allegiance, which is so great. I love Aunt Bethany and Uncle Lewis. And then, the turkey explodes, more or less. And you get that whole scene of them going around the table trying to eat it, So you get Clark like gnawing on the thing and trying to wash it down with some water. You get Ellen, she has some on her fork, and then she, and puts nothing in her mouth. And Eddie with the serving spoon testing out the sweet potato.
Yes. And my uncle Randy, God rest his soul, he left here many years ago, but he and cousin Eddie are like twin brothers by different mothers. And that's how he would do, He would, what at Christmas dinner, it's what is that right there? It's broccoli casserole. He'd lift the whole spoon up and sniff it and stick his tongue to it. Like,
oh,
that ain't bad.
Yeah, as long as you put it on your plate afterwards, but still.
Well, now if he didn't like it, he didn't. He'd put it back.
Oh, yuck. Oh, no. So, yeah, you get to see Aunt Bethany's Jell-O mold on there, too, with the cat food. Does your cat by chance eat Jell-O? I don't know about the cat, but I sure am enjoying it, You get the whole I spotted Santa sleigh in from New York on the news. Are you serious, Clark?
I'll talk more about that one in a later category.
And then what was the other one around the table? Oh, the dog underneath the table. Oh, he's just yakking on the bone. Oh, he's got it up.
He's all right.
He's all right. Well, maybe if you wouldn't feed him from the table. He's just nosing through the trash here. Okay, so those were my nominees. Then we get to Eddie and Clark in the living room. Oh my gosh. There's so many lines in this one too. That he talks about the kids. I got the daughter in the clinic getting cured off the wild turkey. And then the oldest, he's preparing for his career. Oh, college? Carnival.
Maybe he'll get the bark for the yak lady.
He was the pixie duck spreader on the Tilt-A-Whirl. They got him guessing people's weight this year, and maybe he'll get to bark for the yak. She's got these big horns, ugly as sin, but a nice gal and a hell of a good cook. So great. The dogs, drinking the tree water there, and don't you go fall in love with it, because it's going to leave with us when we leave here next month. Yeah. Oh, that's just such a great way to end the scene. And it's got another great line in it too. Can I refill your eggnog for you? Drive you out in the middle of nowhere, leave you for dead? Oh, just glad to be here. That is a great scene. And what Eddie is wearing in that scene?
That is what I want to wear for our family Christmas party.
Oh my gosh.
People make fun of that, but that's sharp.
It's I couldn't pull off the blue leisure suit, but that I could probably pull off,
I just love the fact that you can see through his outer shirt and see that it's a fake turtleneck under it.
Right. Yes. Oh my gosh.
And those white shoes. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
I love those shoes. I need to find me some of those for wearing around.
There's an RV. And then, yes, the other one that you nominated, Clark in the mall with Mary. That whole I don't know if it was ad-libbed. I didn't look that part up, but it's, I was just smiling. I was just browsing.
You can't see the line, can you, Russ? Nope.
This is a bit nipply out. Oh, what did I say? Nipple?
I'm looking for my wife. God rest her soul. Oh, no, we're divorcing. She doesn't wear panties, obviously.
That was great. Can I take something out for you? And then you get that nice Chevy Chase laugh there. I love that. So great. So what do you think? What do you want to put?
I got one more scene is right there at the beginning when his boss is walking by with all his people going into the office. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Kiss my ass. Kiss his ass. Kiss your ass. Happy Hanukkah.
He keeps calling by the wrong name.
Yeah.
Bill or whatever he calls him. Yeah. That flaming bullshit. Just give me the, whatever he said. Oh, yes, sir.
For me, I'm going to pick the one I nominated of him and Eddie in the living room, just because I mentioned having an uncle like that. And it's just, it brings back a lot of memories of our family Christmas parties, because we would have at my dad's mother's, she had 14 kids and they all averaged 2 or 3 grandkids. So you put everybody together in one place. There was 50, 60 people there for Christmas on Christmas Eve. And there's Randy, the star of the show, and he's just walking around and he's not trying to be funny. He's serious as a heart attack, just like Eddie is. It's just who he is. And he was always the type to say stuff like that about, he's got a set on him like you ain't ever seen, Clark. I mean, that's how Randy was. So that scene, it reminds me a lot of our family Christmas. So that's my pick.
Okay. I'm going to give it to the family dinner. Just because everybody is there, there's a lot of great lines, and you get a lot of interaction with, the characters. You get some classic Eddie lines in there, and Bethany and Uncle Lois. We still use that. We'll sit around before dinner. He's gonna say the blessing, and we'll say the blessing if nobody says anything.
Does anybody go all the way with it and start saying the Pledge of Allegiance?
No. My wife would probably be the only one that would know that. The oldest has watched it a couple of times, but they wouldn't know to do that. But I just that scene is so great to me, so I'm gonna pick the family dinner scene there. All right, next award. Oh my God, it's just impossible, man. It's impossible. Favorite quote or line in the movie?
Yeah, that is tough.
So many. I wrote down 4. I'm trying to hold back here, but at the same time, there's just too many to even go through on a nomination scale. I've got 2 from Cousin Eddie. The first is just his simple clicking of the tongue. Bingo. After the sled scene. That was actually improvised, I read. The bingo. The other one is probably the line that is most associated with the movie. Merry Christmas! The shitter was full! Yeah. I know you checked our shitters lately.
Yeah.
The reaction from Todd. He walks out of the house and he's ready to start his run or something, and he just sees him out there. Shitter was full. And he just turns and goes back in the house. I love that. The other one that I don't know, I thought was the best line for a long time was when they're in the living room after dinner and Aunt Bethany is sitting there knitting and she hears the squirrel sound. Do you hear it, dear? It's a funny squeaky sound. And the line is from Uncle Lewis. You couldn't hear a dump truck driving through a nitroglycerin plant. Oh, I love that line. And then probably one of the other ones besides the shitter is full. Why is the carpet all wet, Todd? I don't know, Margot. Like you said, that's on freaking sweaters now. So
yeah,
I think between that one and the shitter is full is the 2 that are recited the most from the movie.
Yeah,
whether they're the best or not, I don't know.
I think the shitter is full. It would probably be the runaway winner if you polled 1,000 people. But I've got a few nominations. One that I know you like is when Clark and Eddie are in the living room, and Clark says something about looking forward to Christmas or something, and Eddie's like, "Yeah, I'm real excited about it," because I use that one.
Yep,
I use that one a lot. Are you serious, Clark? I use that one probably more than any in my personal life. When somebody will be telling a joke, it's just not real funny, and they'll get to the punchline, I'll look at them deadpan with, "Are you serious, Dan?" No, I'm not serious. It just knocks them down a notch. And then my third nomination would be when Clark's cutting the bottom off the tree, and Todd says, "Hey, Griswold, where are you going to put a tree that big? Bend over, I'll show you."
You got a lot of nerve talking to me like that, Griswold. Wasn't talking to you.
That whole little exchange is,
yeah. Oh, that's classic.
Bend over, I'll show you. I use that one a lot too for some of these aggravating 19-year-olds. "Hey, what do you want me to do with this?" "Bend over, I'll show you."
Oh gosh.
But I think my personal favorite, I'm gonna have to go with the majority though and say the shitter's full.
Yeah. That's gonna be my vote too.
Hey, let me shoehorn this in here right quick because I missed it when we were talking earlier. You were talking about the merchandise. Have you seen you can buy the big yard inflatable of Eddie's RV now?
Yes, I have seen it.
Yes. Okay. People who are listening, if you want one, go look for them because they are now available.
Insane. All right, we got another award to give away here. And I like this one, this category that you came up with. Who stole the show in a minor role? So who stole the show? I would say as far as the movie being billed, it was Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, and Randy Quaid were the 3 stars. Mm-hmm. So leave them out of the picture. And who stole the show in a minor role? I wrote down 2.
Okay, what you got?
My first nomination here would be Mary. Mary, of course, the whole scene that you nominated is great. And then, of course, when she shows up again at the pool, which as a whatever I was, 14 or 15-year-old at the time, was pretty eye-opening. We'll just leave it at that. But Mary, I think Mary is one that I would nominate just as polarizing when you see her. And I don't know if that's the right term or not, but I'm just going to leave it in there. What's one for you?
The little girl, Eddie's little girl. And mainly because of the scene where she comes and she thinks Clark is Santa Claus when he's having that dream sequence of Mary. Yeah. And that whole thing of her grammar, him's thinking Santa ain't real.
Right.
we was good all year and we still got the shaft. But my favorite was talking about him being nervous when she says, yeah, he's shitting rocks. And Clark says, I don't believe you should use that word. Oh, shitting bricks. Or I said it backwards, but he's shitting bricks. Sorry, shitting rocks. That little girl just, the whole cross-eyed scene there at the beginning. And she didn't have maybe a grand total of 5 minutes of screen time, but man, she was one of my favorites. What little bit that she was on the screen. Yeah.
And her brother didn't have any lines in the movie. And he was in, I guess mainly they were both there at the family dinner, and then that scene when they're introduced, obviously, and then they run out when when Lewis blows the Santa and the sleigh up in the air at the end of the movie, and they run out there and think it's Santa Claus or something. Yeah, she was cute. I did like her in the movie. My other nomination, I can't decide between the two, so I'm just going to nominate them together, and that's Aunt Bethany and Uncle Lewis. They have so many great lines when they are first introduced. It's later in the movie. It's, right before the dinner scene. And is your house on fire, Clark? No, Aunt Bethany. Is Rusty still in the Navy? And you should go into the
break wind.
Yes. Hell no. He means presents. You shouldn't have brought presents. And that whole interaction between them are great. And then, and Bethany, you should go in and say hello to everybody. Oh, I should do that? Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello.
And when they walk in, Clark, we thought of a good present for you this year. Oh, Lewis, you didn't have to get me anything. Oh, shucks, Bethany. He guessed it.
Yeah. If you're not doing anything constructive, go in the room and get my stogie, And then he blows up the tree. So what's the matter with you? He's on freaking fire,
That goes back to another good quote when they take the chair outside. Eddie, you smell something? Burnt pussycat.
I'd pussycat, yeah. That thing had 9 lives. She just spent them all. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to nominate them together. In the squirrels. The squirrel too, with the dump truck and the nitroglycerin plant. Back and forth.
And I'm going to nominate Margot, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Not Todd and Margot, just Margot, because I think she even stole the scenes with just her and Todd. And, he's like, I want to kiss every inch of your body. He's like, not till you've had a shower. And just everything she's in, she comes back and punches his lights out. And
yeah. If you're not man enough to end this shit, then I am. And then she, if you want to come in here, you're going to have to break down the goddamn door. Boom!
And they do.
You're right. And she screams, and then, my carpet! And falling down the freaking stairs and all that.
And in a slightly dark horse candidate, the two guys in the truck followed them there at the beginning of the movie. Just that old rusted beat-up truck trying to run up on them from behind.
Yeah, they were like laughing. Yeah, that was great. They should have given him a few lines there or something. Figure out why in the hell they were messing with them in the first place, I don't know. I guess that was before they got the tree, so I have no idea. There's a unanswered question for you.
Because they were rednecks, that's why.
Right, yeah.
We do stuff like that.
Yeah, nothing much else to do except mess with people or mess with animals. All right, so who are you going to give your award to in a minor role?
I'm going to go with the little girl.
Okay.
I can't remember her name, though.
Ruby Sue.
Yeah, Ruby Sue. Ruby Sue wins my MVP in a minor role.
Okay. I'm splitting the award. We're gonna have co-MVPs to Aunt Bethany and Uncle Lewis. Love them too. Okay.
But as good as I like Uncle Lewis, that wasn't his best role in my mind either, though. Well, I guess we'll cover that later on.
Okay. Now the major award for wrong movie. Who was the MVP of Christmas Vacation?
This is I don't even need a nomination. I go ahead and give you my pick. It's Cousin Eddie, hands down.
Yeah, I would say if you're going to debate it, it's either between Clark or Eddie, and you could definitely argue that without Eddie there, that some of the Clark's comebacks, are just not there either. But I don't know. It's hard not to give the award to Eddie because he's just so, like you say, it's a serious. He portrays it seriously, and you're laughing at just who he is. So. Mm-hmm. He's not trying to be comedic. He's not trying to essentially steal the show. He's just Eddie.
And as time has went on, this has become as much his movie as it is Chevy Chase's movie. It seems like.
I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that, especially since there was a Christmas Vacation 2 starring Eddie.
Yeah, I've not watched that one. I'm a little gun shy.
I probably will not watch it just because I've hear nothing but it's the crappiest of crap ever put on film.
That shitter was full there.
And just, I think one of my favorite scenes or the favorite scene between Clark and Eddie outside of the living room is in Walmart when they're just going back and forth. He does the thing with the smashing the light bulbs with the dog food. And then he, appeals to Clark after he offers to help him with Christmas. And here's a little list, alphabetical starting with Catherine.
And if it's not too much, Clark, I'd like to get you something really nice.
That's right. Yeah. Gosh. It's Eddie, man. It's got to be Eddie. Yeah. All right, well, let's move on. This is a fun topic here. Was this, and let's plug in, I guess, the 3 stars or the 3 top billed actors here for the movie. Was this Chevy Chase's best role? As I would say, as Clark Griswold and the Griswold series. Let's put them together because, I don't know. European Vacation, we said, was kind of a downer, and most people lean towards the original or Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, but that don't mean that Chevy Chase didn't have a good role in that, though.
That's right. That's right. Could have been the story, but
I'm fine with putting Clark Griswold all together as a character if you want to, though. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Here's a couple that just to be thinking about what else Chevy Chase has done. You've got Fletch. Fletch was pretty big. Mm-hmm. You got Ty Webb in Caddyshack. You've got Emmett Fitzhugh in Spies Like Us, Dusty Bottoms in Three Amigos, and one that's underrated that I love to watch around Christmas time, Andy Farmer in Funny Farm.
I love Funny Farm. That's a good movie.
So, are you still putting Clark Griswold up there?
Well, I don't. It's very tough. It's his most iconic role, for sure. So I would say for him, it was his best role, for his own personal financial future.
That's right.
But as far as my favorite role, I was a really big fan of him as Fletch. But I was also a really big fan of most of his work on Saturday Night Live that first season.
That's right.
That one Christmas skit, matter of fact, is Gerald Ford in the White House where he falls off the ladder decorating the Christmas tree. That is hilarious. That's one of the funnier 2 minutes you'll watch on television. If you've never seen it, you can try to look it up. But for him, I'd say, this was his best role because he got 4 movies out of it. And who knows what kind of royalties he's made off just this one film, let alone the whole series.
Yeah. And he's been quoted as saying, as I'm doing my research, his favorite part of Christmas Vacation is the credits at the beginning because his name becomes before the actual film. That tells you anything about how much Clark Griswold means to him. But I'm right there with you. sadly have not gotten into the Fletch movies, as I know some of my friends have. And that's a great role too. It's just fun, but it's going to be Clark Griswold for me. Beverly D'Angelo, she's done a few other movies, probably most well known for The Coal Miner's Daughter, which I have not seen. What do you think about her? Is her as Ellen Griswold her best role?
Well, again, for her personal well-being, yes, but she was awfully daggone good in Coal Miner's Daughter, though. I'll still give it to Ellen Griswold, though.
Okay. What about Randy Quaid?
By far and away, this is his best role. From this particular movie in the series, this is still his best role.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I think all three of them. You think of their characters in the vacation movies, and
now Eddie, he gave himself a run for the money with his role in Vegas Vacation, though. That was the only standout part to that movie for me, was Cousin Eddie.
I have not. I've seen that like once or twice, and the only line that comes back to me is, "We're gonna get some damn bait," you know, going through the tour of the dam. Yeah.
Well, when he takes Clark to that backwards casino, and I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. 6. Nope, you lost.
All right. Now let's go into, was this these actors' biggest moneymaker as far as their career goes? For Chevy Chase, it was. Christmas Vacation was number 1. Vacation, the original, was number 2. Number 3 is a movie called Snow Day, which
that's
was,
a good movie too.
I have not seen that.
It's fun. With the kids that you have at your age, that is a really fun movie. Y'all should watch it after Christmas, because it's more of a winter, snow day from school movie. It's a lot of fun.
Number 4 in his career was Spies Like Us, and number 5 was the Vacation reboot from a few years ago. And this was just domestic, looking at those numbers, because the Vacation reboot actually did over 100 million if you count in the international. Beverly D'Angelo, it was not number 1 for her. Number 1 for her was Every Which Way But Loose, and I didn't even realize she was in that.
Yeah, I didn't either. That's weird.
I
love
watched
that in Any Which Way You Can. I don't remember her being in there.
I guess it was just the first one, or I don't know if she was in both or not. I'll have to look that up. It's been years since I watched Eastwood and Clyde. Number 2 for her was Christmas Vacation. Number 3 was Coal Miner's Daughter. Number 4, the original Vacation. And then number 5, the Vacation reboot. Randy Quaid, he's been in some blockbusters, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Vacation is only number 4 on his list.
Let me see. Independence Day.
Independence Day is number 1, 301 million. Number 2, Brokeback Mountain, which I have never seen. Number 3, Days of Thunder.
Yeah, I should have known that too. Yeah.
Christmas Vacation, and then the original Vacation for Randy Quaid.
Man, he's got a pretty good resume there.
He does. He was, I don't know as far as totals go compared to like Chevy Chase, but he's up there.
And Beverly D'Angelo was in Every Which Way But Loose. I forgot she was Orville's girlfriend they picked up on the road.
Okay. Was this Chevy Chase, Randy Quaid, Beverly D'Angelo, was it their most critically acclaimed role? I probably not. I'm not sure what would be high on Chevy Chase's list, because they're all comedies. I don't remember him doing anything serious enough, or maybe the original Vacation was critically acclaimed enough to put that original movie higher on somebody's list, and I don't know what the Siskel and Ebert, what their rating or anything was for the original Vacation, but I don't know. What do you say about that?
I don't know about the actual critics. Like I said, I think Randy Quaid just done a bang-up job in this of making, for somebody like me with past experience with him, making me believe he's a real person. Because I've seen somebody just like him in real life.
Yeah.
But I want to say that I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Wraith with Charlie Sheen and Randy Quaid. Randy Quaid was good in that as the sheriff. And he was also good in Days of Thunder as the car owner. It was a serious role for him.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
It just came to mind too. you did eventually watch Hard Rain, right? Where
he was good in it. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the sheriff that turned bad, and he was good in that too. Yeah, he's been good in a lot of things. So, as far as critical acclaim from my standpoint, I don't know if I've seen him something that I just didn't care for him in.
Right.
So, all right, well let's keep moving forward, man. I've got one casting what if that I found along the way. There's an article over on Rolling Stone that was like the oral history of Christmas Vacation. I'd invite people to go over there and check that out if you can find that. There's just a slew of sites that have the 10, 15, 20, 25 facts about Christmas Vacation you didn't know, and they're about all the same. But this oral history is basically from interviews and everything along the way. Even I think some of the commentary. I've never watched the commentary on the film. I need to do that because my DVD has that. But this just takes it directly from the actors, the director, and spews out a lot of facts that you don't just normally see in those like mental floss kind of posts. Mm-hmm. And the one I found in there was Lewis and Bethany were based on Burns and Allen. George Burns, Gracie Allen. And it was hoped that George Burns would actually play Uncle Lewis.
Man, that would have been cool.
That would have been very cool. Thinking about that. And, I remember back in the day watching like the Oh God movies. And, I remember seeing reruns. It might have been on Nick at Night or something of the Burns and Allen show. But just watching a couple clips like on YouTube and then thinking about Bethany and Lewis, I thought that would have been great.
Yeah, that is really, really interesting.
Did you want to throw anything in as far as what ifs go, or any other actors you thought maybe you could have pulled off some of the roles in Christmas Vacation or any of the vacation movies?
Well, I think there's a big opening to talk about people playing Rusty and Audrey because their ages changed all the time. I mean, you could do a whole lot of what ifs with that, but the casting there was good because they both went on to bigger and better things than those roles they were in. So
yeah,
I think he done a good job with that. Better than the other years. Well, except for maybe Vegas Vacation. But
I'm trying to think who was in Vegas Vacation, the kids.
Audrey was played by Marisol, whatever her last name is. She's now plays. No. She now plays Veronica's mom on Riverdale. She's got a major role in that show now in its 4th season. That's probably her biggest thing to date now, which makes me really feel old because my kids are watching this show and she's playing a mom and I'm thinking back to Vegas Vacation. I'm like, well, she's a teenager. Russ in Vegas Vacation, I can't think of the actor's name, but he's been in a lot of stuff. He was in That Thing You Do and some other stuff. So, but still, Johnny Galecki and Juliette Lewis have went on the bigger careers than either of those two did. So,
oh, it was Ethan Embry. Oh, that's the guy from Dutch. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he was Rusty in Vegas Vacation. And then, well, I liked Anthony Michael Hall from the original Vacation too, but you're right as far as the casting goes and changing up the kids each time. And even this time, Russ seemed to be the younger sibling, whereas Russ was the older sibling in like the original 2 movies. So, and I think he was, I don't know if he was in Vegas or not, but they even switched up their age differences and ranges, throughout the whole series.
And nobody ever seems to care. I mean, some people mention it, but nobody ever really cares.
Well, that's what's great. And that's what's when you think about the movie and who are the most valuable players in each one, it's Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo and Randy Quaid that's consistent pretty much throughout. Well, actually, Randy Quaid wasn't in the original that much. It wasn't until the later movies, probably this one, where he had the biggest role. But, well, you said too, even Vegas was a larger expanded role, but
they had to. There's no way after Christmas Vacation you could make another vacation movie and not feature Randy Quaid in a significant way.
That's right. Okay. I've got a couple unanswered questions I want to throw at you. And this is kind of maybe a deleted scene talk as well, but we hold the Tenement on Wheels pretty high as far as being part of Eddie and Catherine's backstory and all that. In this oral history that I found, Miriam Flynn, who played Catherine, says, there is one scene that did not make it into Christmas Vacation, and I so wish it had. It's a scene where Randy and I are in the infamous motorhome, and you get to see what our lives are like inside. That was a riot, but at the time it had to be cut.
Well, I hope it's not a follow-up to when he told her to get out the rubber sheets and gerbils, though.
Right.
Maybe that's why it had to be cut.
It could be. That was just, I don't know. I'm just curious to see what other treasures would be in that RV.
So that deleted scene don't exist as far as us being able to watch it?
As far as I know, it does not.
Okay.
It does not available, or has not been released to any DVD or Blu-ray to watch. Or I think it would be a major story across the websites that I follow, at least, you know.
Yeah.
I kind of want I don't know. I want more on Todd and Margot, and you know where they got those silver jumpsuits, and you know, a little bit. I thought maybe some of the setup with them and having more of a history between Clark and the animosity that's obviously there. It just might be a lifestyle thing, but
I mean, you can tell that Todd and Margot are new wave people as far as they probably have meditation crystals, and you can look at their home. They don't have Christmas tree and this and that. I'd say it's just such a culture clash of looking down their nose at the everyday man and family man in Clark, you know, versus what they try to portray themselves as.
Yeah. But you don't get many scenes between them, and you get that first scene, you know, with the chainsaw when he's cutting up the tree, and you get Margot going over to the house and the squirrel and the dog jumping on her. But most of those scenes are kind of separate from the movie and reacting to what happens, the tree through the window and the ice that smashes the stereo, and I don't know. I want a little bit more on them. And then one thing that always bugs me, why didn't Clark get out of the attic from the hole he made in the ceiling? You know,
right.
He lands right on Russ's bed, and he just could have climbed down from there instead of being stuck up in the attic. But,
and let's say he just can't fit. That leads me to another unanswered question. Why did he not set the movie theater up next to that hole so that warm air was blowing on him?
Right. Yeah. By that time, he had the fur shawl and gloves and hat on, and he was ready to go. But I don't know. That one always bugs me. Did you have anything as far as unanswered questions?
You might touch on this in facts, you know, did you know? But Clark takes that present into his boss, and all the presents look alike. What was that present?
I have read, I don't think this is in the Do You Know, just because it wasn't really confirmed, but that year, apparently there was a desktop set, like a stationary set that was really popular, like a pen and pad, and it was in like a little wooden box or something. Mm-hmm. That was really popular. I should have looked in the Sears catalog or something, but everyone that I've seen talk about it online seems to think it was this stationary set.
Yeah, it could be. It might not be. Who knows? It was a nice touch that everybody who bought him a present bought him the same thing.
Yeah. Be safe. Yeah, just to be safe. All right, well, let's get on to the next little segment here. And what should the next incarnation of the film be? Ooh. Well, we've had sequels past Christmas Vacation, obviously. And then just that Christmas Vacation 2, that was a made-for-TV movie. It was actually released in 2003, and it starred Randy Quaid and Miriam Flynn as Eddie and Catherine. And they brought Dana Barron back, who reprised Audrey from the first Vacation film. So it was essentially another iteration of Audrey, but the same actress. I've seen nothing but bad stuff about it, so I'm probably never gonna go there unless forced to, or somebody wants some shock value, or we review it or something. Mm-hmm. But so we've had the sequel. Could it be rebooted? Maybe building off of the the original Vacation reboot that happened with Ed Helms and Christina Applegate, a few years ago. It probably could. Would it work as a series?
I don't believe this would work as a series.
I don't think so either. It's too, Christmas is, it seems at least, in the last several years with all the Hallmark stuff and everybody going crazy for those movies, that doing a television series set at Christmas, I guess it could work, but I think people want that movie and be done with it,
Yeah. If they like the profit they made off of the Vacation reboot, you got to think it's in the back of their minds to do a Christmas Vacation reboot. But this is one of those iconic movies that I don't think you can improve upon in any way, shape, or form. Now, if they wanted to make, instead of a reboot, if they wanted to make a direct sequel, I would be down for watching Clark still hosting Christmas at his house 30 years later with a grown-up Johnny Galecki and Juliette Lewis bringing their kids over. Instead of it being Clark's parents, now it's Clark's kids and stuff coming with their kids. And you've got Eddie unexpectedly maybe showing up again or something. I would give that a shot, but I would want the original actors and things and it to be a direct sequel to this.
Well, Randy Quaid is pretty much, it's not going to happen with him. And I don't know where, I guess, when was the reboot? 2013, I think. I think Chevy and Beverly D'Angelo would be more of the Uncle Lewis and Aunt Bethany role at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it could happen. It could have happened maybe 10 years ago.
Well, I think it could happen now. They're grandparents. They've got the look about them to be grandparents. And then if you could get like Juliette Lewis and Johnny Galecki, not that you would need to, you could use anybody, but with their current fame, that would
be the draw. Yeah.
Cool to get them in there and have their kids with them. And they're all coming back to mom and dad's house for Christmas.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm saying I don't think it should even be rebooted with the new stars and that universe. I would just say just leave this one alone. But like you said, if they get Johnny Galecki and Juliette Lewis, that would raise my eyebrows enough to maybe. Yeah. All right, we're gonna keep moving along here. I don't know, too many did you know facts in here. A lot of them you've probably heard, but there's some in here that I think I might surprise some people. So here we go. Did you know on Christmas Vacation? As far as the soundtrack, there was actually never a official release of the soundtrack. But to celebrate the 10th anniversary in 1999, a limited number of probably what you would call bootleg CDs were pressed and sold at Six Flags Magic Mountain, where the scenes from the first Vacation were actually shot. And the pressing included all the songs from the featured film, clips of dialogue from the movie, and portions of the score. I have seen this, and it's actually, there is a playlist on YouTube, I think, that features all the tracks from that CD. I have never got my hands on one, but it was weird to me because there's a lot of great music in this movie, and I think it would make a great album. So it's weird they've never tried to put that together over the years, officially.
Yeah, I really like the Ray Charles Christmas song in this, and it was hard to track down and download, but I've got it, and I actually found maybe a bootleg version of the Christmas Vacation theme song that both of those are on my Christmas playlist every year.
I love, the Christmas Vacation theme, that Ray Charles one. I can't remember who's the group that does the Hey Santa Claus, when they're near the mall scene. Love that song. And then how great is that like polka version of Rudolph that they play when Eddie's around, when he's emptying the shitter, and it's that tuba. Oh gosh. Perfect. Just perfect. Here's another, did you know? And this one hasn't been confirmed, but it's rumored, speaking of the soundtrack, that Prince was involved with the theme song. He was a Warner Brothers artist, and the director was quoted that he produced it, which Discogs, if you go to there and you look at the producers on the songs that were actually released, I think, on that bootleg pressing, or there's actually a 45 single of the Christmas Vacation theme. But it was released on Prince's Paisley Park Records. So while it's not official, it could be that Prince was involved with the Christmas Vacation theme.
Interesting.
Cool. Oh, here's one. A lot of people might know this one. When Clark is in bed and he's got all the sap on his fingers and he's reading the Time magazine or People magazine, which is a great scene. The person shown on the cover of the magazine is director Jeremiah Chechik.
Oh.
When Cousin Eddie barged into the house with Clark's boss, and Ellen Lee jokingly tells the police officer that this is the family's first kidnapping, that's actually wrong. You know, they kidnapped John Candy at Wally World in the first movie. So I thought that was funny. All right. You're going to love this, man. I had not heard this before. Director Jeremy Chechik was quoted in an interview saying, for the dog and squirrel chase, they hired an animal trainer who trained them every day for months to run through the set. When it came time to finally shoot what they've been planning, he got out of the car and saw everyone standing around in a huddle shaking their heads and knew something was terribly wrong. I asked him what was going on. He said, we have a problem. Okay, what? The squirrel's dead.
Oh, my goodness.
I said, holy bleep, we're shooting that day. And the animal trainer turned and said, you know, they don't live that long. He said, we still had to shoot the scene, so we used an untrained squirrel, and it was total chaos.
But it translated good to film, though.
It did. I guess it did, yeah. So, yeah, the poor squirrel they had trained.
How do you train a squirrel?
I don't know. With a dog, even, you know.
Where's Eddie? He eats these goddamn things.
Not anymore. He learned they were high in cholesterol. The house in which the Griswolds' neighbors, you know, Todd and Margot live in, is the same house where the Murtaugh family, which is Danny Glover's family, lived in all 4 Lethal Weapon movies.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah,
one. That was interesting.
It was, shot on the Warner Brothers backlot, so a lot of those houses were the same. And then the houses in the little home movie that Clark is watching in the attic, it's the house front from Bewitched and The New Gidget.
Oh, didn't make that connection. I wouldn't have on the Gidget one, but I you know.
Bewitched, I watched some Bewitched back in the day, but that has never connected with me. You're going to love this one too. We talked about those 2 guys in the pickup at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That old Dodge pickup was previously used as Kurt Russell's work truck in Overboard, and it was also in They Live.
Oh.
Same truck.
Cool.
Okay, when Clark's in his office daydreaming with that little scale model of the swimming pool, and his coworker Bill steps in and he asks if Clark's okay, there is a container of air-grade marine epoxy in the plastic case on the left side of the screen. This is the identical product in name that Dan Aykroyd uses as Elwood Blues to get the glue on the gas pedal of the Good Old Boys' motor.
Wow. Wow.
This is glue. Strong stuff. Yep. The lettering.
Impressive.
Yeah, I know, right? God, I couldn't even tell because I was kind of looking for some of those things.
Well, I mean, it's impressive that somebody noticed it, but it's even, I ain't gonna say more impressive, but it's also impressive that someone making the movie, I don't know if they done it on purpose or not, or if that was just a prop they found that just happened to be used in another movie. But if it was on purpose, that's impressive.
Well, it was, like I said, it was in name because the can looked a little bit different in both movies.
Oh, well, then it must have been on purpose then.
Yeah. I thought that was fun. At one point, there's a close-up of the living room television, which is showing a Christmas-themed parade. The footage is actually from America's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which was held in downtown Detroit. And Detroit is the hometown of writer and producer John Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
So he used that footage. Here's a couple fun ones about It's a Wonderful Life and a connection to that. Of course, we remember seeing parts of the movie in Christmas Vacation. Mm-hmm. You know, Russ is watching it on television as the grandparents arrive. That film was directed by Frank Capra, and Capra's grandson, Frank Capra III, was an assistant director on Christmas Vacation.
Wow.
And then after, the cutting down the replacement tree with the chainsaw, Clark is upstairs and he fixed the newel post. Well, obviously that's a nod.
That's a
nod to George Bailey and, constantly pulling off the newel post at the bottom of the stairs in It's a Wonderful Life. Of course, we see Chevy Chase in this movie wearing the Chicago Bears cap, which has been worn throughout the Vacation movies. So there's a couple little things like that as kind of a continuation of his character and his look, According to Randy Quaid, many of Cousin Eddie's characteristics, most notably the clicking of the tongue, were based on a guy that he knew from when he grew up in Texas years ago who had similar traits. So Cousin Eddie was essentially based on a real person. That makes sense that you have one in your family too. See?
Yep. I've got a great picture of my Uncle Randy. If I can find it, I'll scan it and send it to you, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay. This one I had heard before I did a deep dive here, but according to an article in Chicago Magazine, director Chris Columbus states he was the original director of Christmas Vacation. Although he filmed some of the second unit establishing shots, which he claims are still left in the film, he left after 2 meetings with Chevy Chase and told John Hughes, "There's no way I can do this movie. I know I need to work, but I can't do it with this guy," unquote.
Wow.
So Hughes sent him another script that he had, which was Home Alone. That's how Chris Columbus got into the Home Alone movies.
Very interesting.
At least the first 2. Director Jeremy Chechik also directed 2 music videos in the MTV era, Hall & Oates' Downtown Life and Van Halen's When It's Love. Take that for what it's worth. The label on the home movie reel that Clark finds in the attic was labeled Christmas 59, which actually is the short story that John Hughes wrote for the magazine. But you'll notice, like, when you watch the actual home movie, it says Christmas 1955. So take that for what it's worth. This is
a little Easter egg there.
Yep. This is one of 3 films released in 1989 to feature an animated title sequence. We didn't talk about that much, but I look forward to that every time I watch the movie too. That first little intro. The other 2, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Troop Beverly Hills. From 1989. Only 2 Christmas-themed movies came out in 1989, as we mentioned. Prancer and Christmas Vacation, and Johnny Galecki was in both of them. He also said, I read in that oral history, that Chevy Chase would take him during lunch hours to the sets of Harlem Nights and Ghostbusters 2.
Holy cow.
How fun would that be? You take your lunch and you're, hanging out with Eddie Murphy, and the next day you're hanging out with Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd. And
yeah, that's cool.
Oh, gosh. Despite acting as the husband and wife duo of Aunt Bethany and Uncle Lewis, Mae Questel was 19 years older than her co-star, William Hickey. She was 81 at the time, and he was 62. Diane Ladd, who played Clark's mother, Nora, is only 8 years older than Chevy Chase.
Wow.
So they you never, don't think about those things when you're watching the movie, because I could tell they added some things to Diane Ladd to make her look a little bit older. And actually, I don't think I put this in the notes, but Ruby Sue wore a wig.
Huh.
They wanted her hair longer, and I guess it wasn't at the time of filming, so they made her wear a wig. Lindsey Buckingham, he was offered the opportunity to actually write the theme song of the movie, but declined because he didn't want to be known as only a soundtrack musician. Give me a break. But coincidentally, this is the only Vacation movie that his song Holiday Road is not featured in the movie. So I guess you snub me, we'll snub you back. Oh, this is great too. I had not heard about this. The scene where the cat bites the Christmas lights cord and gets electrocuted.
Please tell me that actually happened.
It did not, but it was nearly cut from the movie. Prior to the first test screening, the studio execs wanted to just take the scene out. They figured it might offend some viewers, but the producer, Matty Simmons, begged them to leave the scene in, and they actually gave in, obviously, to the request. After the first test screening, the audience scored that the cat electrocution scene was their number one scene from the entire movie.
Wow.
So, yeah. Gosh, I got a couple more. After failing to get the Christmas lights to work one last time, Clark Griswold takes his frustration out on the plastic decorations in the front yard. That's one of my favorite scenes too. When he's just so angry, he walks up to that Santa and shakes it and then just punches it right in the face. When he punched the Santa, he actually broke his pinky finger.
Wow.
And that's the take that they used. They kept it rolling, and even though he broke his finger. And this last one, maybe some people have heard, Mae Questel. This was her final film, who played Aunt Bethany. She was the original voice of Betty Boop and Olive Oil from the Popeye cartoons.
Wow, that's cool. Now, see, you said people may have heard of that. That's the first time I've heard anything like that.
Mm-hmm. That's all I got. You got any facts you want to throw in there?
No, I left them all up to you.
Okay.
That's pretty cool, though.
Well, we are going to wrap things up here, but before we go, I've got several quotes and lines and stuff I wanted to pass along from our followers who were kind enough to leave us a comment when we put some stuff out there on social media to tell us what your favorite things were from the movie. So I'm going to group these in kind of comments and then lines, because I just got some lines tweeted at me. At Skinny Joe Fan, if that thing had 9 lives, she just spent them all. And he also sent us a YouTube link to the Clark and Mary scene at the mall. At VOL 1977, Jason Miracle, he just quoted back the gif of Uncle Lewis going, "The blessing." Pat Morris at Solidness 6. Oh dear, did I break wind? Joe Parrish at Joe Parrish 7. That there's an RV. At Steve Curious 2. Shitter's full. That was a gif. Mm-hmm. At CK 1971. Can't see the line, can you, Russ? Mm. And then at EX Lurker FC. Hallelujah. Holy shit. Where's the Tylenol? We didn't really talk about that rant, but oh my gosh, that's just classic. And I didn't put this in the did you know, but he had cue cards everywhere in that house for that scene.
I just kind of figured that was ad-libbed.
Well, he probably came up with the description there of his boss, but he had cue cards set to pull that one off. That was epic. That's like all-time epic, Then 2 more comments. Bridget Presswick at B Presswick 7. She said she was watching it this weekend. I've only seen the cut for TV version, so I have to say the squirrel scenes are my favorite. Another Chevy Chase movie I like watching at the holidays is Funny Farm. So I agree with that. Funny Farm is it's got some scenes at Christmas. You might group it in that gray area that we talked about last week, Mick.
Yeah, but it's got just as many scenes in the summer and stuff too, though. So
that's right. But it all kind of leads up to that Christmas time when they're trying to pull off that show for the people wanting to buy the house. And
that is a really good movie, though.
Cue the deer. My favorite part of that whole movie. I love the mailman. I love his laugh. I love every little interaction with the mailman when he's out trying to get the mail and he's all dressed up in camo. When he comes during the Christmas time and the people are there and delivers the mail personally. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. That's like my favorite part of that whole movie.
My favorite part's when Clark sets the record for eating bull testicles and don't know it.
That's right.
That's funny.
What do they call it?
We call them mountain oysters here.
I
can't remember what they call it in the movie.
Yeah, it was something like that. It was great. And then finally, we'll plug one of our own here, Jeff at Pilot Jeff or _ Jeff. He actually tweeted back a link to his article on Retro Network, which was really great this week, like a 30-year retrospective on the movie. We'll definitely recommend people go check that out. It's got some of these same facts in there, but his take on it is really great. Anything else you want to add, man, before we close up the drive-in?
No, other than it's a movie that is certainly very rewatchable because you and I both rewatch it every Christmas, and I'm sure we're not alone in that. And if anyone is listening to this who haven't seen it, there's no way we could do it justice. You need to go watch it.
That's right. I did see that AMC was adding some more dates, it looks like, for chances to go see it in the theater, which is great. But it's obviously out there on, I think it is on Blu-ray. It might be just DVD. I can't remember if it's gotten a Blu-ray release or not. Go out and find it. We can even put up a link in the show notes if we want to. But man, whew, I'm exhausted. I need a vacation from our Christmas vacation talk. So much put into this. Again, my favorite Christmas movie, and I can watch it many, many times. Last night when I watched it, it was kind of in the background, and I just had it going, and I'm writing some stuff down, notes and everything, and it was still, as much as I'm, watching it in the theater, I still love it to death, no matter how I watch it. And it's always multiple times a year. So
it is great.
It's great. All right. I think that's going to about do it for the TRN Drive-In on Christmas Vacation. Love to hear your thoughts on the movie if you didn't get a chance to get your thoughts in before we recorded the show. And there might be an outside chance we're going to have another drive-in for you before year's end, but we definitely want to invite you to follow us over there on Patreon. And we are going to release a new drive-in episode over there each month next year around 1995. All the movies that came out there. We've got 12 picked out, 6 by Mick, 6 by me. And we're going to go through one a month over there on Patreon for all of our people that back us over there. And it's going to be a fun ride, man. I'm looking forward to that. There was a lot of great movies in 95.
Well, I don't know. So, I mean, there were some great ones, but maybe not great, but there sure were a whole lot of fun ones, though. They may not be great, but we're going to do some fun ones.
You were looking at my list, weren't you?
No, I was looking at my list.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I think there's some great rewatchable movies and some that maybe we haven't watched in a long time that we enjoyed back then, and it's going to be fun to see how they hold up too, and it's probably going to be like that if we covered a different year, 1985 or something. But
all right, well, we're doing this, the 25th anniversary for all these movies that we'll be covering, so
that's right.
It's a nice little hook to the series.
And to give our patrons over there a little something more than just outtakes, which are fun to put together, but we want to give you an actual series too to look forward to over there for supporting us just at the $2 level. So we are looking forward to that. We thank you guys so much for listening, and we are going to close up the drive-in for this week, and we'll see you next time.
Merry Christmas! Dinner was full! Thank you.